Welcome back. I'm Brandon, the HBAR Bull, joined today by a special guest filling in for Zepsi, Jeremy Fletcher from Ledgerama, the makers of Walla Wallet. Now, I do some contract work for the HBAR Foundation, but I don't do these weekly updates in any official capacity. We're just coming on personally to give you the latest in the Hedera ecosystem. Welcome, Jeremy. How are things going?
Hey, doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on, Brandon. Great to be here.
Yeah, thank you for filling in. I was saying that as I came up here. I was actually expecting Zepsi to be on today, but you filled in last minute, so we appreciate it.
Anytime. Happy to do it.
All right, so a quick note, none of this is financial advice. Use it for entertainment or educational purposes only. The first thing I want to touch on here today is, of course, the Coinbase listing, right? So, we know back in September that they came out and said that they were going to list in September, and that got delayed because of some account issues, and they came out on Wednesday and updated us. They said, HBAR deposits and withdrawals have been re-enabled. Please make sure to update your mobile application to the most recent version. And everybody got excited, of course. And then a few hours later, they came out and said, HBAR deposit address generation has been disabled temporarily while we investigate an issue with our implementation of memo tags. Withdrawals are still available. We will provide updates here on their status site. And of course, everybody was frustrated with that, just like they were excited with the first one. I'm kind of a contrarian by nature, so I looked down in the comments and there were a lot of negative comments. Understandable, it was frustrating, but this kind of stuff happens. And the one thing I said was I've always had good experiences with Coinbase, which is true. I've always had good experiences with them. And I said, I know you guys will figure it out. I got a comment to that. They said, I love you, man, but you got to cut back on the toxic positivity. And I understand it. I mean, I do get it, because we do stay awfully positive on Hedera. There's an awful lot of positive stuff out there, but this was frustrating. This was a frustrating thing. But I think because it was so high profile, we've had a lot of exchange listings. I'm sure there's been issues with others as well. I know Bittrex at one time suspended withdrawals of HBAR, and a lot of people got frustrated. It was for an entire week. But I think that's because they're security focused, a lot like Walla Wallet, and they got it back up and they've been good since. But a lot of people left the platform for that reason. But they came back just a few hours later and said everything's been fixed. And the next day they did list it and everything seems to be going fine. Jeremy, do you have any thoughts on the Coinbase listing?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, of course, it's huge for the Hedera ecosystem. Just to start off with, that's something that it's been in the wings for quite a while. We've all been chomping at the bit, eager to get it, and so of course we're all happy to see that move is finally made. I just like you, I have not used Coinbase in quite a while. It was one of the first wallets that I used though when I was onboarding into the cryptocurrency space in general. Never had any problems with it. Obviously they do fantastic work. They've got great leadership over at Coinbase. So, any problems that, at the end of the day, Hedera is a unique animal. There are challenges to overcome. There are ways that, there are challenges to overcome, but that's like with any, really with any technology product. So not really surprising to see that there was little hiccups. And of course, people are eager, and you can kind of see that in the frustration, but really not a big issue in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it was a few hours. In the long run, it really doesn't matter. It's going to be important to have that on-ramp during the next bull run when things turn around. So we're just gearing up for that. That's how I look at it.
Right.
All right. So the next thing we wanted to cover was the new Tajuri platform. This is from the DIFC court system. So essentially, the new Tajuri platform that leverages Hedera was just announced by the UAE DFIC court system. From what I understand, this is a court system for a free trade zone within the UAE. Tajuri enables the upload and secure storing of documents ranging from insurance contracts, title deeds, wills, financial certificates, to images and multimedia. And this is going to be available globally. So it's not something that's local to that area. People can use it wherever they are. As I understand it, Hedera is going to be used in a few ways, but one of those being to facilitate the transmission of an entire portfolio of these assets to designated stakeholders at necessary times. All right, so the director of the DIFC court system said, In our new digitally driven societies, we are all accumulating mass amounts of important documentation, whether it be for professional or personal purposes. Tajuri has been engineered to help address issues of storage and security of these documents and to enable individuals to now transfer this data to one secure location. The DIFC courts, together with its public and private sector partners, is proud to be able to offer this distinctive service to the public and to help contribute to a safer digital environment for all. All right, and Shane, the CEO of the HBAR Foundation, went on to say, Hedera makes it cost-effective and practical to bring the security and accountability of a public ledger to the age-old challenge of document safekeeping, verification, and sharing. The Dubai International Financial Center courts are demonstrating industry leadership in cost-effectively delivering next-generation digital services, saving people time, money, and headaches through this new digital vault built on Hedera. So, Jeremy, did you catch this news, and what were your thoughts?
So I hadn't really done any deep dive on the news. Of course, I did see, I kind of took it at a cursory glance, but immediately what it makes me think of is the evolution that we're seeing in the Web3 space going on right now. I mean, it's happening on Hedera, and it's happening within Walla Wallet. We're super excited to see things like nesting of files within NFTs. It's just the door is really opening wide to so many different use cases. When you think about, just as an example, being able to attach videos, photos, PDFs, YouTube links, all the multimedia stuff that you can embed within these NFTs. So to see a company, to see a project like this, that's that's taking important documents and storing them safe, I mean, on a distributed ledger, it only makes sense. And we've been waiting for the bigger use cases and the bigger projects like this to come along. So this is another feather in the cap for us.
Yeah, like I said, it's a free trade zone within the UAE, but it's still one of the first government institutions that have tried a use case along these lines. So I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a blue sky. There's so many use cases we're going to see, and you're just going to see the Hedera name, HBAR, HTS tokens. I mean, you're going to see these more and more, and I think the action that we've seen over the past week, maybe 2 weeks with really just the past few days with HBAR, is an indicator to me when I love seeing, of course, we love to see green arrows pointing up when in a sea of red. When you see, next to HBAR, it's kind of been holding its own in a very turbulent market right now. It's doing quite well. I think people are really starting to see the power that is kind of nascent currently within Hedera, but it's growing, and it's getting stronger as the community gets bigger and as more and more people in the retail space catch on.
Yeah, for sure, Jeremy. I completely agree. The next thing I wanted to cover, and we'll do this real quick, is I saw OKX, the exchange came out with staking for Hedera, and it was 72%. I'm not sure how they're getting these numbers. My guess is actually that HBAR that hit Stater a few weeks ago, that might have been them. This 72% APY is only for 2 weeks. I think it's 15 days or something along those lines. So they might have been accruing rewards during that time to be able to do this. But it was just interesting to see. I mean, that certainly caught a lot of the community by surprise.
Right. So we saw that big uptake in value locked. What was it, 750 million HBAR, was it?
It went from 700 to almost 1.5 billion HBAR locked on Stater.
Right, right. So yeah, so an increase basically, I mean, it did a 2x basically overnight. So yeah, I think that we might be pretty safe in assuming that that was what was going on. Of course, I don't have any particular knowledge in that arena, as far as whether that was OKX, but it certainly looks like it may have been. I mean, 72%. These numbers are pretty outlandish, but hey, get it while the getting's good. It's fun to see. I mean, there's a lot of questions of sustainability, but strike while the iron is hot.
Well, they made it clear it's only for the first 15 days. I'm not sure what they're going to do after that, but it was fun to see.
Yeah.
The next thing I wanted to get into, and you participated in one of these, is we just did an investor pitch event over this past week. We had 10 different teams participating, including Citadel Wallet, which is a hardware wallet that's Hedera native. We had Hedera Gallery. We had Blade Wallet, one of your competitors, on there. But you participated in one of these as well. What were your thoughts when you participated?
So, when you're a startup business, pitching is life. They say, how can you tell that an entrepreneur is pitching? It's when his lips are moving, right? So, yeah. So, I mean, pitch events are just part of the lifeblood of being in a startup, and we're always there to support the Hedera ecosystem. I mean, there are so many great projects. It was awesome to see Oro DAO with the Zimbali folks. I mean, Headstarter is doing incredible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just, the list goes on and on. So these are a great opportunity for not only for projects to get out there and kind of strut their stuff and, let people get a glimpse behind the curtain, so to speak. And it's a great opportunity for investors, community members, and for the startups themselves. So yeah, it's a great event. Unfortunately, I didn't get to catch the one with Blade Wallet, but I will definitely go back and watch that. I mean, they're doing incredible work too. The leadership they've got great leadership over there as well. I mean, I think we know, that Sammy, has been in the ecosystem for quite a long time. So they're going to be doing exciting things, no doubt about it. And it's one of those, yeah, it's a competitor, but this is a big space, and of course we want to stay on the podium, but we realize that we've got a long way to go and a lot of work to do in terms of utility and usefulness with the wallet. So it's we're a small team, we're chugging right along, but we admire the work that the others are doing, and and as a smaller team and smaller project, it kind of gives us an opportunity to see what the others are doing, and and see if that's something that we need to either mimic or imitate, or whether we're going down a different path. So it has some usefulness to it as well. But yeah, no, those pitch events are great, and you always do an awesome job. And there's just so many of them. I can't believe how many great projects, just like week after week. There's just all these killer projects, and I look forward to going back and catching the ones that I missed yesterday.
Yeah, well, we post them all to the HBAR Foundation YouTube channel, so people can check them out there. We have to have more than 50 at this point that have participated. Right. I think we're going to skip November. We're probably going to have another one in December. So if any investors want to get involved, or if any companies that are building in the Hedera ecosystem want to get involved, you are more than welcome. There was another tweet that came out earlier this week that I wanted to talk about, and it had to do with Hedera staking. It pretty much was Hedera saying, get ready. And they mentioned Walla Wallet, they mentioned Yamgo, they mentioned a few of the other wallets in the ecosystem. Did you see that tweet?
Yes, I sure did. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it's always great to get a little bit of that co-marketing opportunities. And as a wallet that's been working hard in the Hedera ecosystem, and of course, I mean, we supported native staking from day one. Both Rob and I had our eyes on that, and we knew that no matter what was going to happen, we were going to support native staking from day one, even with or without the rewards, so people could be prepared. So yeah, so you see that, and it's okay. Now we're just, it's in a kind of an announcement of an announcement, right? So we're just kind of on the edge of our seats, waiting for those rewards to kick in, and waiting for those support calls to come in. So definitely there has been an increase. I've noticed over the past. Really, since that tweet, there's been an increase in the need for education in the community. People are seeing the tweet, they're saying, oh, okay, maybe I really do need to start paying attention now, because I think previously without the rewards, people have been kind of like, okay, well, I've got some time, kind of human nature, right? People will just kind of, oh, I've got a little bit of time. But people are definitely, our support channels are starting to light up. So people are catching on, and rewards are coming. Don't forget, folks, you got to stake your HBAR, get it active now. And it's super easy to do in Walla Wallet. So we hope you give it a shot and give us some feedback.
Yeah, I have staked already on a few wallets, Hashpack and Walla Wallet included. So I'm ready for it, that's for sure.
Right. And we know that we've got, and so there's definitely some user interface stuff, and people are going to see over the next coming weeks. Of course, we're in open beta right now. And over the coming weeks, you're going to see a lot of improvements coming to Walla Wallet from a user interface and user experience perspective. So while it might look a little bit clunky at this point in time with the staking on Walla Wallet, I think it's important for people to know how safe and secure and how much time we spent on the security side, right? So the bulletproof security and rock solid stability of Walla Wallet, really, to me, for serious investors and people with a lot of HBAR that they want to stake, I think it's a great option. So we do hope that people will give it a shot and give us some feedback.
Yeah,
that feedback's super important. We need it.
I'm sure they will. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into some network analysis, get into the transaction volume and everything along those lines. We saw some interesting stuff over the past week. So for the longest time, we had been hovering around 1 million transactions per day. And right now, over the past 24 hours, we're at 2.4 million. So a significant jump off of that. But over the past week, we've seen days that have been significantly higher than that. We've seen them up to, I think, 5 or 6 million transactions per day. I'm not exactly sure the source of these, but I don't think it's ad stacks. I also don't think it's Atma.io. I wouldn't call this a step change yet, but it's good to see another high volume transaction use case that appears to have come online. Any thoughts on that, Jeremy?
Well, I think, it's more evidence of the increase in adoption of Hedera. I mean, that's what it points to me. Whether it's coming from an increase that there's definitely been, over the past few months, we've seen a big uptick in the amount of users coming on board, the amount of interest in Hedera NFTs, the amount of interest in Hedera DeFi. The amount of exchanges, the amount of DEXs that are coming up, coming online in the Hedera ecosystem. So so when I look at numbers like that, is it the step function that that folks have been waiting for in the Hedera ecosystem? I wouldn't want to say one way or the other, but to see these kind of spikes, the calm before the storm is kind of past, and we're starting to get the outer bands of the hurricane that's coming.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case. Another thing I want to mention is the smart contracts. They came down a little bit from last week. That's not surprising because there was a lot of usage when HeliSwap, the new DEX, came online, and that's come down a bit, but not too bad. We're still sitting at about 14,000 transactions per day. Consensus time is still under 5 seconds, like it's been for a long time. As far as the fungible token summary, not a protocol has moved into first place, and that is the Slime World game that's really popular in Southeast Asia. Did you know anything about Slime World there, Jeremy?
Oh yeah, so Slime World's been, it's been something that's floating around in the ecosystem for I don't know, at least 6 months. I remember talking to Peter Uliano over at HBAR News about Slime World. He did a couple articles over there. Gaming is a huge use case on Hedera, period. We see a lot of excitement around that. Whether it's Earthlings, whether it's Slime World. I think one of the things about it is that it gives a tangible utility to the token, right? We're all in the space, we're token holders. A lot of us are hodlers, right? So it's not going anywhere anytime soon, right? But we'd like to be able to use it in some way, right? If it's, if we've got a serious chunk of HBAR, we might take a little bit and play around with something like Slime World. And if you get the chance to earn too, play to earn, all of these X2 earn projects are getting pretty big. So not surprising at all. It's a cute game. It's something that I definitely think that my daughter would probably enjoy. I haven't played it yet, but it looks like a lot of fun. Any chance you get to earn some HBAR, I think people are all about it.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Other fungible tokens that are in the top 10 include Energy Trade Token. We have Sauce and Wrapped HBAR as well as USDC. That all indicates that our DeFi ecosystem is chugging along, and we see Dovu in there as well. As far as non-fungible tokens, we have Hangry Baboons in there. I know we've talked to them a couple times. We have Web2.3 smart domains. That's certainly interesting to see them in the top 10. Do you know those guys over at Web2.3?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dell and the team over at Web2.3, they're a great team. We've talked to them a number of times. They're part of the HBAR Foundry. So we've had a lot of great conversations with Dell over at Web2.3, and we just look forward to being able to support projects like Web2.3 and Walla Walla. As I had said a little bit earlier, utility and usefulness being our primary focus right now. So of course we want to support the awesome.hbar domains. Web2.3 is a great team. Yeah, highly recommend people check them out because you can definitely, and after talking to Dell, it's one of those teams, sometimes you talk to teams and you just get a sense that they really want the best for their users and they want the best for their community. Web2.3 is that kind of team, 100%.
Yeah, sure. Couldn't agree more. I love those guys over there. Also, another one I haven't seen in the NFT list is Hippie Skulls. So I'm not sure what's going on with those, but it looks like we got a new one in the top 10. Let's move on to DeFi. Right now on SaucerSwap, we have 17.1 million TVL, total value locked. Now that's in addition to HeliSwap, who just announced that they have over 5 million. So we have more TVL on our decentralized exchanges that I've seen before. Certainly good to see. As far as farming rewards on SaucerSwap, we've seen a little bit more of an uptick. So USDC HBAR is at 98%, HBAR USDC is at 75%, and Sauce HBAR at 50%. HBAR Sauce is sitting at 50% as well. And as I mentioned, we saw that uptick a little bit, and I think that's because people are transferring a little bit from SaucerSwap over to HeliSwap to see some even higher returns. And speaking of HellaSwap, as far as the returns we're seeing over there, we have USDC HBAR sitting at 171%, HBAR HBAR sitting at 32%. I think over on SaucerSwap, it's sitting at around 20%. And the OHM token, that's Mantra DAO's governance token, they have 600% as far as USDC and OHM, and then HBAR OHM is sitting at 500%. So some really good returns coming in on that. Another thing I want to bring up about HellaSwap is there was somebody in the community that was having trouble removing liquidity, activating that smart contract to remove liquidity, and it ended up being he had to clear out his cookies and his cache. So if you are having any trouble on HellaSwap, removing liquidity or any of the smart contracts, go ahead and clear out your cookies from your cache, and that might fix your problem. All right, and another thing, I saw a tweet from SaucerSwap. They came out and said that we actually crossed the TVL of Cardano. So we have more TVL in the Hedera DeFi ecosystem than Cardano does. That was certainly good to see. Did you catch that tweet?
I did. And that's big news. It's one of those. I try not to be I try not to get on the soapbox. I mean, as an influencer, as somebody that does Hedera-based live streams, I mean, I think people pretty much know where I stand. So I try not to do too much grandstanding other than that. But yeah, those are proud moments for us in Hedera. I can't deny it.
Yeah, certainly not to bash on Cardano. It's just good to highlight what we're doing in our DeFi ecosystem.
So it's okay to give ourselves a little pat on the back every once in a while, right?
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. As far as Stater, we have 1.417 billion HBAR total value locked. We're sitting at an APY at just under 11%, and the HBAR to HBAR X exchange rate is 1.1857. All right, and moving on to the crypto and more specifically the HBAR market. First off, Bitcoin is up almost 8% over the past 24 hours, so that's a good move for them. Down about 1% over the past 7 days. And as far as HBAR, we are up 4% over the past 24 hours and 9% over the past 7 days. Certainly good to see. We had a good run early in the week. There was a sharp correction on Wednesday morning, and then we recovered, and we've fallen back down a little bit. We're sitting at about 6.2 cents right now. We're seeing higher lows as time's been going on, so that's certainly good to see. I'm looking for support between 6 and 6.1 cents, and I'd say we have some resistance maybe around 6.6, 6.7 cents. So we'll be looking at those values going forward. Now, the big thing in the macro environment is we did get the CPI number the other day. It came out, I think it's 8.2%, so a little bit hot, and that's seeing a little bit of pressure today as far as risk assets. And of course, crypto is included in that. So Jeremy, do you have any thoughts on the general markets or the crypto markets more specifically?
Well, so we're seeing the crab walk, right? So the markets are just kind of walking sideways. We've been doing it for a little while now. Gives one the sense that we may be at a bottom. Again, not financial advice. We don't know that, but it does give the one the sense that we've kind of stabilized where we're at, and we may be just waiting on the next uptick. But there's a lot of concern in the macroeconomic situation. I mean, the world is kind of on the edge of its seat right now, right? I mean, there's all this back and forth to play with Russia and Ukraine. It's got everybody concerned, and I think in times like this, when the sabers are being rattled, I think the tendency is probably for folks to just be a little bit more conservative. With the central banks, particularly the Federal Reserve in the United States, being pretty hawkish. They've got a fire to fight, and they're fighting the fire. So in the meantime, again, it's one of those where especially with, like you mentioned, with risk assets, people are going to kind of be on the sidelines and let the risk takers take the risks and just kind of wait it out. But any of those things could change at any time. And if you've been in the crypto markets for a while, it's one of those that it just suddenly, you wake up at, 2:00 in the morning because, a handful of your friends are sending, the text messages are flying, phone calls are happening, emails are flying. And then suddenly what's going on here? Everything's going up. So you just you never know when something like that can happen. But in the meantime, we just kind of sit by and watch the crab walk. And as builders, I mean, regardless of what the markets are doing, whether they're going up or down, the builders are building. So, we don't really worry about the markets too much. Of course, it would be great if the prices go up because you've got, then you've got a little bit extra capital in your, that you're sitting on. But by and large, of course, we watch the price, but we don't really worry about it too much. We just keep building.
Yeah, just keep building. We don't have a crystal ball, so we'll just keep grinding, right?
Right.
All right, so next week we're going to host Karate Combat for a Twitter space, hopefully on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's leading up to their main event on October 29th. I'm going to be down there for that in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be at Universal Studios, so certainly check it out. If you are a Hedarian and you're into fights, contact me. We'll see what we can work out. Besides that, I don't have too much else. Jeremy, is there anything else you'd like to pass on?
Yeah, sure. I'll take a minute to do a shameless plug if you don't mind.
Sure.
So we're, Walla Wallet is currently in open beta. Folks out there that want to check out the open beta, feel free to go to beta.wallawallet.com and check out the open beta. And then we're going to be launching, we're doing a soft launch because we want to make sure that it's, that there are there's no issues that are just bugging people from a security standpoint. From a stability standpoint, we should be fine. I mean, well, we know we're fine in security. So Walla Wallet's been audited, right? So the security audit, that code never changed, right? So from a security standpoint, your keys are always going to be locked down, in whether it's the secure enclave or the Titan M chip or whatever, depending on what hardware you're using, what device you're using to store your cryptocurrency. So the security part of it never changed, but we're going to get some feedback from the users. We're going to make sure that, that there's no weird crashes when you're trying to, because with these, with the NFTs and the file nesting and everything that's going on, there's a lot of moving parts there. So we're doing a soft launch. That's going to be next week. And we hope that people will dig in, give us some of that feedback, especially the NFT creators out there that want to learn more about multimedia within NFTs and the file nesting and those types of things. Please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, we just look forward to getting everybody's feedback. It's been a long road. We're working hard for the Hedera ecosystem, like we have from the beginning. And so, give us that feedback and let us know what you want to see next.
All right, Jeremy, again, thank you so much for swinging by. I think people should definitely check out Walla Wallet. If they like the content that we put out today, make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. And don't forget to check out some of the interviews we did over the past week. We had a great one with Drop, with hgraph.io, and Lehman Swap. That's pretty much all I got. Hopefully, we'll see you again next week. Talk to you later.
Thanks a lot. See you next time.